The center you are in with everything you know and everything you try to understand. I will love you always and forever as you love the one who's everything and nothing you once dreamed of hand in hand. The circle ends where it begins and starts again just where it ends. No seam, no separation, and no finish line to pass. There is no need for hurry and no use for fear and worry, for our lives roll on forever, but only this one moment lasts. Everything that you believe is true, and everything you try to help me see. For I am part of you, are part of me, and part of everything that never will be changed, as well as changing you and me. The circle ends where it begins and starts again just where it ends. No seam, no separation, and no finish line to pass. There is no need for hurry and no use for fear and worry, for our lives roll on forever, but only this one moment lasts. Our lives roll on forever, but only this one moment. Let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one. Let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one. Oh, let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one. Let us gather at this river. Let us gather one by one.
Good morning, y'all. I am the Reverend Amy Carol Webb, My pronouns are she, her, and they. Welcome to our Love Stream service at River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Davie, Florida, where we are under shelter-in-place orders. So we meet here, where the medium is virtual, but the bonds of community are some of the realest things we can know in this time of great uncertainty. It is deeply good to see your faces this morning. And I think we have some other Easter bonnets out there live. So some of y'all wore them to the screen, just like you would wear them to the service. I see Carolyn. I feel like romper room. Who else has Easter bonnets? Oh, they're the Bresnahans. Oh, there's Kathy. Jeannie, look at you. Oh, there's Alan and Gail. Who else have we got wearing there? Oh, Diane has a proper Easter bonnet. Kat has her bunny ears. We have people from all over the place. Oh, Eleanor, look at you. Oh, the Scrimshires all the way in Japan. Oh, who else? Linda, hello, how are you? I see you. Oh, goodness gracious, so many beautiful faces and Easter bonnets. Oh, June, look at you. Y'all can flip through your screen. No, you can't the way it's set right now, I don't think. Oh, there's Marilisa. Oh, there's Pat. Hi, Mom. Janet has hers. Lucy. I just love the variety here. The Giblin Davises are here with There's the Mann family. Hello, precious ones. We miss seeing you in person. Susan has hers. Sheila has hers. Oh, there's the Enright family. Hey, Emma. Beautiful people. This is awesome. As you can tell, I'm not really wearing an Easter bonnet. Listen, I was a preacher's kid growing up in Oklahoma, and we got all gussied up on Easter every year, and I did not like that one bit. So when I got to be a grown-up, I said, well, maybe what I'll need to do is just wear my ranch hat. How's that? In this congregation, it is our mission to nurture our spirits, love intentionally, and create a just and healthy planet. It's a part of our enduring search for truth, meaning, and faith. What we share here is not an unchanging dogma, but an affirmation that we are called to be agents of love and justice and to build a world where everyone is cherished for who they are. Our mission is not changed in this time the world seems to have tilted on its axis, but we are all the more determined that we be a brilliant flame to light the way. Our connections are not weakened by our physical distance, that we must keep at this time to help keep our lives and the lives of our neighbors safe. But we are strengthened in the bond of our growing awareness of and gratitude for our bonds with one another, in the interconnected web of all being and with the holy by every name. However you made your way among us this morning, we welcome you. Whoever you are, however you are, wherever you are. We welcome you as you are and promise never to just leave you there. Now, before we move into the rest of this morning's service, I want to say a word about next week's service. As we continue to celebrate the season of renewal and rebirth, next week will be our annual Earth Day service, and this year will feature our first ever virtual animal blessing. In our screens every Sunday, we've noticed that we see so many of your fur family members in our screens. So we want to put them front and center next week and thank them for their companionship, for their love, for their medicine in this strange and stressful time that we're living through. If you'd like to remember a beloved pet, a beloved animal that has passed, or yours can't be with you for whatever reason, please send a photo to me at my office email, and we'll make sure to include them in photographs, as well as blessing our fur family live as part of our broadcast. Okay, now let's breathe together for just a moment. Let us gather in with these words given by the Reverend Margaret Weiss of the First Unitarian Society of Ithaca, New York, titled, "The Congregation Has Left the Building." The congregation is not a place. It is a people. The congregation is not only a tower above the tree-lined streets and cars, rather it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and of justice. The congregation is not walls, built stone upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather person linked with person, all ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The congregation is not just a set of doors open on a Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience, radical hospitality. The congregation is not simply a building, a tower, a pew. The congregation is the gathering together of all the people and all the experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts. Gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache, pick up hope, pick up love. For the congregation is us, each and every one of us, together a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. Come, let us worship together.
Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. Circle round for freedom, circle round for peace, for all of us imprisoned, circle for release, circle for the planet, circle for each soul, for the children of our children. Keep the circle whole. The flaming chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through generations, now ours to hold high. Please join your voices with the Enright family as Emma and Eleanor kindle their family chalice, which Emma made when she became a river chalice lighter.
We light this sacred flame today, that by its light we may see the path of liberation before us and dare to take it as one people, living the way of love unfolding through us.
In the light of love, let us renew our covenant as we say together, love is the spirit of this congregation and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
El amor es el espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente.
Each week here at River of Grass, we learn more about those who came before us to lay the foundations of our good work in this world and discover those who carry on that work in our own time, those who are our heritage and our hope. This morning we find our heritage in the Rabbi Howard Berman. In 2004, Rabbi Berman shook things up a bit when he helmed the pulpit of the Arlington Street Unitarian Church, not leading congregants only through the Jewish holiday cycle of Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot during Sunday worship services, but going where perhaps no rabbi had gone before, leading the congregation's Christmas service as well, and then a few months later leading his diverse congregation through the telling of the Passover and a Seder meal. Rabbi Berman, as well as Arlington Street, fielded a great deal of criticism and controversy for these apparent contradictions in tradition and teaching, but the rabbi saw it differently. I see it as people being freed to encounter Judaism and draw from it and be inspired by it, he said. I see that as a very wonderful thing. This is our heritage. For our hope this morning, we turn to Susan Katz Miller, the author, speaker, educator, interfaith coach, and interfaith activist, a former correspondent for Newsweek and New Scientist. Her writing and photography have been published in the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Christian Science Monitor, and elsewhere. She is the child of interfaith parents and the parent of interfaith children, and the author of the book, Being Both, Embracing Two Religions in One Interfaith Family. In this book, she says, I set out to tell the story of how dual faith education can benefit children and strengthen families. I think being both may contribute to what the mystical Jewish tradition of Kabbalah calls tikkun olam, healing the world. This is our hope.
In our community each week, we share pieces of our lives. This too takes a new form for our new normal. Let's hold still for a minute in the midst of this world changing both too fast and not fast enough. Where we need, we must find time to both be still and pause, to keep on going, to keep on hoping and loving and looking for the goodness that surely remains in us and in all beings connected within the interdependent web of life we belong with and to. We take this moment to feel it all and to know all of those experiences as real and worthy. If you would like to share a thought or a prayer, a joy or concern with us in this moment, our chat space is open. You can write it there and we will lift it up together. Our intern is returned from her intensive studies. Besa says, good morning, River of Grass. Love to each and every one of you in the Passover, Easter, spring equinox season. The Mann family says, thank you for the Easter bunny delivering eggs to all of the families of River of Grass. We had some magic happening this morning all over our neighborhoods. Elise says, sadness for the passing of John Prine and so many others. The Sagel Fleming family says to everyone, thanks to the Flamingo Bunny who hid our Easter eggs this morning. Natalie says, God bless the universe. Bennett says, welcome back to everybody and to Besa, and asks us all to stay safe. Carolyn Moore says, hello and love. Hi, Carolyn. Eleanor says, today is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad. Amen and amen and amen. Laurel and Natasha celebrating me and my wife's third wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary. Let's see. Mallory says she's feeling exhausted. She feels like her care isn't always reciprocated. It is an exhausting time. And sometimes people do presume that we're tough and that we're going to be okay through this. Let us be more attentive to checking in with one another more often. Karen Lee says, thanks to all of you for being there. Mary Lisa says, missing my mom, Marianne, who died on Easter Sunday in 2011. The Giblin Davis family says, happy Easter to Julia and Alma from Connecticut. To Kat, and Kat says to everyone, thank you to the service people who are out there. Gary says, I congratulate my wife this morning for putting up with me through 35 years of marriage and contributing to the richness of my life in more ways than can be counted. Lynn Wiltshire. Lynn is my cousin from Owasso, Oklahoma, my precious cousin sister. Prayers for all our elders and shut-in, praising God even in this valley. And Hemian says, happy Easter from the Hemian family. We're so glad to see you too. Scott and Carolyn say, gratitude to our healthcare workers and grocery store staff putting themselves on the front lines. Elise says, happy anniversary, Gary and Karen. Ken and Leanna, blessings to all of our old River of Grass friends and family who've moved away but found us virtually. Ken, they would probably say, who you calling old? Eva says, Mallory, we love you. Bev Kaufman says, the Wild Pines appreciate you helping June to join us. Alan and Gail say, we're missing Gail's mom, Bev, who died last Easter. I can still hear her laugh. Julia Giblin says, grateful for family and virtual congregation today. Sarah Gonzalez, hello. Happy wedding anniversary to my parents who have given me and Alan a wonderful example of lasting love. I love you both. Hi, Kyle. Kyle says, grateful for the powerful music of John Prine. Can't wait to maybe see a Rev Amy cover. Oh, all right, I'll take that challenge. To Jeannie, from Jeannie, my brave friend Lisa, who battled the virus and beat it. Hallelujah for that. Linda Lethram says, I've been so grateful for my chosen family, the River of Grass lately, grateful for the very first people who introduced me to Unitarian Universalism, and to each and every single one of you, you are truly my family. Kat says it's good to see Mary Jo. Yes, it is. Yes, it absolutely is. Lauren Fury says, good morning, everyone from Newport News, Virginia. Let's see. Oh, and Lauren says, sorry, my computer can't handle the video, so she can't show us her face right this minute. Gwen says she's still in her jammies. She would prefer to avoid the video. Okay, some of this. Bennett says he's got no mic, but thanks. All right. Love all the hats in the gallery. Elise says, good morning to everyone. Jeannie says, happy Easter to everyone. I had to improvise a bonnet. Happy Easter from Callie and Josh with love. The Bueller-Elis say happy Easter to all. Good morning, everyone. We are so thankful. Oh, so I've been called for coughing into my hand. I'm so sorry. Yes, I did that. These old habits are hard to break. We are happy to be in our larger meeting room together. We are happy to be where we can see one another more fully. As William James wrote, we are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected in the deep. And now, keeping physical distance, but reaching ever stronger in our spiritual connections, let us remember the suffering around us and among us, knowing none of us is or ever truly could be alone. Remembering all those who need our support and our help. As this time has shown us, those who need us most. Remembering those who are suffering, who are sick, we pray for their recovery. We are grateful for those who have recovered and are recovering. We mourn for those who have died all across this world. For this virus is truly teaching us that we are all one human family connected across this planet. We lift up all these things with this moment of silence. Source of all, we lift these things, written and unwritten, spoken and unspoken. We ask that our hearts be seen even as we become seers of hearts. We come broken open this morning by the circumstances of life, by the circumstances of life on this planet, by all of those this morning who are afraid, those who are alone, those who don't know what happens next. We are grateful for those on the front lines, putting their lives on the line that we might be safe. We are grateful for all those who are complying with stay-home orders, that we all might save one another's lives. For those who do venture out, we ask that you surround them with protection, that we also be ready to defend and protect them when we are needed. For all those who need, may we see them and be ready to share the bountifulness of our own lives, of our own love, of material goods, as well as our spirits, our encouragement, our love, our hope, our joy. We lift all of these things in the name of all that is holy, grateful for this day that shows us that new life is possible. Amen and amen. Amin, aho, ashe, namaste. Blessed be. And so it is.
Parents, please bring our young ones to the screen for today's tale. Our story today is about this little bunny and how she was able to break free of her fear or be liberated in order to do the right thing. It begins once upon a time in a field. It had dry grass, brambles and thistles, and high places and low places, and rocks scattered around, and a stream that passed alongside. And here and there and everywhere were flowers. Buttercups and tulips, coneflowers and lupines, all kinds of bright, beautiful flowers growing up out of the dry grass. Now you may ask, how could these flowers grow when the field was so dry? The answer is that next to each flower was a hole in the ground, and in each hole lived an animal whose job it was to tend that flower. Most were rabbits, but there were hedgehogs and field mice and even a badger or two. Every morning, each animal would come out of its hole, hop or scurry down to the stream, and use a leaf to scoop up some water, and then they would each carry their leaf back and water their flower. In a little gully in this field next to a tall sunflower lived a rabbit. Every day she would go down to the stream and get some water for her sunflower. She loved that sunflower. It was tall and bright and strong and healthy, and she took very good care of it. One afternoon, the rabbit decided to hop up to the top of a little hill alongside her gully. When she got to the top, she saw something she'd never seen before. Down a ways, she saw a flower. It might have been a daisy, but it was hard to tell. This flower looked in bad shape. Now, why had she never seen that flower before? It's not that big a mystery, really. She had just never climbed that particular little hill to look in that particular direction. Of course, she knew the field was full of flowers. She may have heard some were not doing quite as well as her sunflower, but she'd never actually seen one that looked as bad as this. She hopped down the hill to take a closer look, and then she began to understand. This flower needed water. Its stem was bent. Its petals were wilting in the heat. The ground around it was parched and dry. The rabbit felt bad that a flower could be so neglected. And then she did nothing. Even though the flower looked terrible, it was just one flower in a field after all. The field had plenty of other flowers that were doing fine. The rabbit had enough work to do, watering her own flower. So she went home, got on with her business, getting up every morning, going to the stream, watering her sunflower, and then hopping around all afternoon. But the other flower didn't go away. At least once a day, the rabbit couldn't help but hop up to the top of the hill and take a quick look. Every day, the other flower looked a little worse. It started to get to her. The rabbit thought about that flower at night while she was trying to sleep. She thought about it in the morning when she hopped to the stream for water. She couldn't even enjoy her own flower so much, knowing the other flower was wilting more and more every day. Now you may wonder, why didn't that rabbit just go over and water the flower? After all, it was not far away, just on the other side of the hill. The stream had plenty of water, and the rabbit had plenty of time. Well, that's a good question. The rabbit thought about it all the time. She'd think about making an extra trip to the stream to get some water for that flower, but then she'd think, well, you don't just march into someone's front yard and water their flower without asking, do you? What if that flower is someone else's to water? They might yell at me or something. Or she'd think, what if the flower likes being dried up and droopy? That's possible, isn't it? Or she'd think, aren't there animals who are supposed to go around and help out flowers whose animals don't water them? I should leave it to them, right? With all these questions swirling in her head, the rabbit went about her business, taking care of her sunflower every day and trying not to think about the other flower. But it kept bothering her, especially at night. It was kind of irritating, actually. Sometimes she wished the flower would just get better by itself or die. But every time she sneaked a peek, there it was, looking more dry, more wilted, and more droopy. Finally, the rabbit could stand it no longer. One morning, hopping from the stream with a leaf full of water for her sunflower, she suddenly thought, it's just not right. Flowers not supposed to wilt like that. Flowers should be healthy and colorful and bright and beautiful. And she found herself hopping over the hill toward the other flower, taking the water there instead. At the top of the hill, the rabbit got a bit nervous. Her nose twitched as she sniffed the air. It might be dangerous over there. She shouldn't be watering other animals' flowers. But then she said, it's just not right, and kept going over the hill and down the other side. The rabbit hopped close to the dry flower, closer than she had been before. Suddenly, a hedgehog popped out of a hole in the ground. The hedgehog yelled, "Hey, what are you doing?" "I'm going to water this flower," the rabbit said. "It's too dry, and if I don't water it, it will die." The hedgehog said, "What business is it of yours whether this flower dies? This is my flower. I'll take care of it how I want. Go home and take care of your own flower." But the rabbit answered, "I'm sorry, but I tried that. Flowers are supposed to be bright and beautiful, not wilting and droopy. So I'm going to water this flower." She watered that dry, wilted, drooping daisy right in front of the hedgehog, though he fussed and mumbled and gave her mean looks. And she turned around and hopped back over the hill. The next day, she came back with a leaf full of water and watered it again. And the day after that, she watered it again. And then another, and another, and another. The hedgehog continued to fuss and mumble and give the rabbit mean looks, but the flower started to look better. First the petals perked up, then the stem began to stand up a little straighter, then its leaves started to fill out and get bigger. The flower even grew a little taller. Strangely enough, as this flower got brighter and healthier and taller and more beautiful, so did the rabbit's own flower. And so did every other flower, all the flowers in the field, even ones she had never watered, flowers she had never even noticed before. The whole field began to brighten as the colors of every flower became more vivid and the flower stretched taller. It was almost as if there was more water everywhere. How could that be? Were other rabbits and hedgehogs and field mice and even badgers sneaking around and watering other animals' flowers too? Or was it because when someone waters a wilting flower somewhere, all flowers everywhere grow a little brighter? I'm glad our little bunny was able to be liberated or freed from her fear of getting involved. I know it can be scary to do something new sometimes, even when we know it's the right thing to do. I think our bunny felt proud that she was able to make a difference for the wilting daisy. I wonder if she inspired others to help too. Maybe that's why the whole field of flowers looked so beautiful. I wonder if our little bunny can inspire you to brighten up someone's corner of the world this week. Don't be afraid to share a smile with someone who needs it. We're all in this together. And we'll be looking for those smiles in our Faith Development Fellowship time at noon today too. See you then.
We've done what's called themed services at River of Grass for a few years now, as many Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world do. These themes generally tend to follow the holy days and traditions of given months across many traditions, given our Universalist theology that welcomes and embraces all paths toward the better world we seek and our better selves required to create that world. What you might not know is that the themes for each congregational year are chosen in April or May of the previous year. So it is that a year ago, our theme for this month of April 2020 was set out to go deeper into the concept of liberation. Now, you might think it odd, ironic, or maybe even inappropriate to keep with that theme, given how our world looks right now. With us holed up in our houses in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, with so many of our freedoms curtailed in this attempt to save our own lives and the lives of the people we love and people we don't even know. That doesn't sound like liberation. Or maybe it does. See, the thing is, as horrifying, as devastating, as ruthless as this COVID-19 pandemic is, I'm convinced it is, in truth, a gateway to our liberation. For ourselves as individuals, as communities, as nations, and as a planet. How else to explain some of the effects around the world as we know it, everywhere, not just in my house or yours, but in virtually every country across this planet as it has come to a screeching halt, like somebody stuck a stick through our bicycle spokes and we're thrown off, lying in a ditch, wondering what the heck just happened, we're also seeing people come to one another's aid in ways we haven't seen before. This jolt has torn open our convenient perceptions of our world in ways we cannot deny. We cannot unsee the truths we're seeing now. We cannot unknow what our hearts are coming to know, however much we may still be reeling in all of this. The writer Julio Vincent Gambuto put it this way: now the curtain is wide open. This crisis has given us a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see ourselves and our country in the plainest of views. And because it is rarer than rare, it has brought to light all of the beautiful and painful truths of how we live. I cannot speak for you, he says, but I imagine you feel like I do, devastated, depressed, and heartbroken. But listen, my beloveds. As much as we yearn for things to feel better, we must be willing to stay in that discomfort. We must not rush to feel better. We must not rush to hurry up and fix it. We need courage enough to let the brokenness of everything right now reveal how we rise again to build anew. This is surely not the first time the world has come apart, but it's our time. And it's our choice how we put it together again. This Easter morning, imagine Jesus' followers' despair. They thought everything was over. This revolution, this ministry of love and justice that had been awakened in them by their teacher, Jesus. Their dream was dead, they thought. And their hope was sealed over in the darkness of a tomb. Even that morning that we celebrate today, even that morning that the three Marys went to Jesus' tomb and found it empty, they were deep in grief, they were exhausted and traumatized and utterly confused, and they had no way to know what any of it meant yet, if it meant anything at all. In that moment, they did not and could not know that they were about to discover an entirely new way to live. A new way to love, a new truth, or was it an old truth they had forgotten until their hearts were broken open anew? In truth, the only thing that was over was their old way of being. Now, lest we think it was all going to turn easy in the next moment, it was not. Remember, Jesus was not a lenient teacher. His message was not an easy one. The love he lived was no hearts and flowers and butterflies kind of love, nor was the liberation he preached anything like our 4th of July fireworks display, blazing for a moment and then subsumed back into the familiar and deadening status quo. No, he had upended the status quo, and he had to be stopped. If nothing else, the heavy stone sealing shut his tomb was also meant to seal the fate of his revolutionary love. But it could not be sealed away, forgotten, defeated. We don't know exactly what happened beyond what the Gospels teach. And we really don't need to take in its truth. What we do know is that the world as Jesus' followers knew it, came to a sudden, brutal, devastating halt. Little did they know that that devastation signaled transformation to come, a chance at a new life in a new world, and that there would be no going back. So what can this teaching tell us where we are right now? Could it be that the world as we know it is being brought to a screeching halt by this virus, as the sheer force needed to roll the stone away from our own consciousness, to show us our human hearts and the meaning of love like we could never know it otherwise? And could we, like those disciples of the Eastertide telling, realize there is no going back once that stone is rolled away and the light pours in? Here's the thing, as my colleague, the Reverend Kendall Gibbons, underscored it. The essence of Easter, she says, the essence of Easter is transformation. It is never about things going back to the way they were before. The new life of spring is new, not last year's leaves. Those are gone. They're over and done. Even the empty tomb of the Gospels is not a sign that Jesus and his entourage were going to resume their former life, but that a new way of things is coming, and the old way of things is finished. It is only a radical new understanding of how to be a community together that will save them from dissolution and despair. So what if we too, on this Easter morning of coronavirus danger and death, what if we too are called again to rise and make a new world? What if there is no way back to what was before, only a path forward to a different way of being, perhaps a society more nearly what it and we ought to be? Make no mistake, the world of empire wants desperately to roll that heavy stone right back over our broken, open hearts. That stone of forgetting, the stone of getting back to normal, of comfort and convenience at the expense of absolutely everything and everyone else, right back over our newfound resolve that the world must not slide back into its old ways, and we must not slide back into our old selves. This Easter, of all Easters of our history, we are offered the rare chance to decide how we will live from this moment forward, to decide what we keep and what we let go, to live our lives with the meaning we long for as individuals, as communities, as nations, as one people on this planet, that we might stop talking about being transformed and actually be transformed. That is the meaning of Easter. That transformation is possible if we are willing. That liberation from our old ways and our old selves is possible if we are willing. That what we think is the end can actually be a new beginning. That as we struggle together now, so may we rise together in the end, no matter how heavy that stone.
My life was on in endless song above his lamentation. I hear the reels afar of him that is a new creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, I hear the music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? But though the tempest round me roars, I know the truth is bitter. But though the darkness round me grows, songs in the night is given. No storm shall shake my inmost calm, while to the rock I'm clinging. Since love prevails in heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble as they hear the bells of freedom ringing, when friends rejoice so far and near, how can I keep from singing? To prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? Give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for the times we share with love and care. We give thanks for this precious day. We sustain and strengthen this beloved community and its mission in our world through the gifts of our time and skills, our love and laughter, and our money. Each Sunday, half of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, which provides hot meals 365 days a year, as well as clothing and support here in Broward County. The other half supports the mission and ministry of River of Grass. This sharing practice is more crucial than ever in this tumultuous time, where we commit again to do our part to support the people most at risk in our community. So, since we can't pass our baskets as usual right now, how do we do that? We have centralized several ways to give on our River of Grass website at the link you see on the screen and in the chat. If you like using text to give, you can still do that. If you're accustomed to putting a regular amount in the basket, you can now do that digitally on our Donate webpage, either by using the Donate button or contacting our office to set up an automatic donation so you don't have to think about it until we gather again. You can take a moment to do that now as the music plays, or do it later, or if you need support to set that up, please contact our office and we'll help. Whatever method works best for you, please give generously and joyfully, that we may feed and fortify this congregation and its good work in the world that needs it now more than ever. We extinguish this chalice flame, but not the fire that burns within, nor the light that leads us on.
We are so grateful to see all of your faces and have you with us. We will gather in a moment to chat and have our coffee in our hospitality time here in our Zoom meeting room, our Brady Bunch window. I'm so grateful for the tech that allows us to be able to be seen. So grateful for everyone that makes our gathering here on a Sunday morning even possible. Let us remember as we depart this time, when the world around us rattles with the unknown in this moment and yet to come. Let us make peace with the unknowing as we move forward. And in this season of transformation, may we hold before our eyes the vision of a world transformed and dare to transform ourselves that it might be so. How deeply we are learning the meaning of those words right now in ways we never could have imagined. Hold fast. Let us love one another. Let us do our part. Until we meet again, shine on.